Hello there, and welcome to another Second Life Book Club. My name is Draxtor. On the show today, Sarah Darer Littman, author of young adult books and books for middle grade. The young adult books often deal with the impact technology has on teenagers' lives. We'll ask her why we should read YA as adults. I'm assuming we are all adults in the room, but who knows? Sarah has actually written a book that has a Second Life type social virtual world as the backdrop for a case of sexual exploitation, sex trafficking, and we'll talk about that too. I don't know why always people, especially the YAOs, they always pick on those poor Second Lifers. But anyway, I digress. We'll bring in Sarah in just a minute. First, a few housekeeping notes. We're here on Book Club Island. We get about 100 people on average come through here every day. So if you happen to be here, be nice to them. They may be noobs. We are open 24/7. The flagship show is every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Second Life time. There are other monthly shows. Con Sweeney has a wonderful show on the first Monday. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Uh, and we have a person on stage here with us. GUI is on stage. Oh wow. We might have to get security to remove him from the stage. GUI, there you go. He was sitting there. That's next to my statue. Usually I sit there. But today we stream on Facebook. Where do we stream? We stream on Twitter. We stream on YouTube to a combined audience of over 3,000 people, which for a book lover like myself is indeed heaven. And I want to say this. I say this every week. If you're watching this and you have not read anything lately, as a matter of fact, audience member here, Ruby Geek, wanted to put a hashtag out there, "Make my boyfriend read again" or something like that. Hashtag "Make my boyfriend read again." Please put it in the chat if I got this wrong. We here at the book club we do not discriminate against lapsed readers. So if the last novel you read was the Cliff Notes of the Catcher in the Rye, you can stick around. We'll find a book for you. We're listed in the destination guide. We're listed under featured events. If you have a suggestion for an author, please email. The email you find by clicking on the board behind me there. We're booked through October 2021, but you can still email anytime. Big thanks for the folks who are putting this show together. Strawberry Linden is producing. Brett and Tara Linden help out with marketing. Patch Linden, the governance team, including the moles. They do security. They do the venue. Marianne McCann customized the venue. Kralos dresses up the avatars. Sarah's avatar is amazing. Kralos did that. Silas Merlin makes special swag and super custom avatars. AJ McDowell makes coffee cups, custom coffee cups. There's one on the table here. Now, oh yeah, here's the hashtag. Let's make our boyfriends read again. This is the hashtag for today. So if you're posting pictures of the show today on social media, put a hashtag there. Guest today is Sarah Darer Littman, author of books with titles such as Want to Go Private, Backlash, as well as Confessions of a Closet Catholic. You see those books lying around here on the table. And her latest book out from Scholastic in October, you can pre-order it now, is Deepfake. Welcome, Sarah. So thrilled to have you come visit us. How are you?
Insane, really.
You work a lot. You work 12-hour shifts, and you're also moving. But you're with us in Second Life. Yeah.
Yes, this is very much of a pleasant break from panicking about my classes being ready for the start of classes tomorrow.
This is actually something that I ask every author, and there's a common thread here. You're teaching online, and a lot of people express the stress even when they're in front of a class normally, but there's a different anxiety level when you're on camera all the time. How is that for you? What's the biggest stress factor in this online version of what you're doing in the physical world normally?
I think the hardest thing is when I'm doing synchronous classes. So, when I actually have the students with me, so we're supposedly able to have a discussion, that we're not allowed to use Zoom, so I can't see
Oh,
all of their faces at the same time. And it's very hard as the instructor to be able to keep up with what's going on in the chat, to also show slides and talk over them, and to try and make it so when you're in the classroom, you can tell when people are half asleep or
right.
if you're losing them, and you can, you know, turn up the excitement a little bit. But when
That's
you're
why I love Second
online,
Life so much. I mean, all these people here are half asleep. They don't even, I don't know what they're doing. No, sorry, go ahead.
everyone's multitasking, yes. But one thing I did find last semester was that, because last semester I had them in the classroom for like half the semester, and then the second half of the semester we had to shift online, literally with a week's notice and about 2 hours of training. But what I found was that a lot of people who were not very talkative in class were very active on discussion boards. And I thought that was really interesting. And it sort
The,
of showed me how maybe for some, some students who might be more shy, they would, perhaps this is a better format for them.
I can tell you, I mean, there's a lot of academic research about Second Life in particular. If you look at academia.edu, there's literally hundreds of papers written about that very topic, about Second Life specifically with avatar embodiment and how it enables people with social anxieties to be much more present because they have this layer of protection between them and other people. But I don't know how much that applies in other. I mean, we really need to study that stuff more. I think. I mean, it's there's tremendous opportunity uh, in incorporating diverse population, but then again, I don't know. We're all just doing sort of the one size fits all approach, I guess. Still.
Well, but I mean, also we over the summer in the, our faculty discussions, we were having conversations about, can you require your students to show themselves on camera
Mm-hmm.
during class time? But then we had the whole discussion about economic inequality, like maybe some students don't want to show their
Yep.
home environment, because it might make them, so because we have a very diverse population, so there are so many issues that arise as a result of this online situation.
And
Also,
people maybe at
what all the information that these these ed tech companies are collating about each student.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what you just said, that's something that came up in a recent discussion. People may be in close quarters at home. They may not have any privacy, even if they're in an online course. They may be in very small apartments, and you know, for obvious reasons, may not want to be showing that all to everybody. Um, it's it's tough out there, but Sarah, thank God your novels for young adults are very lighthearted and have subjects such as, like I mentioned earlier, sexual exploitation and online bullying, and now deepfake. So, before we get into what deepfake means and what that is, my question is, as a fan of the young adult genre, and I just turned 50, why should adults read young adult novels? Is this not a total waste of time to read kids' books?
Well, they're not really kids books. When you're talking about young adult, you know, it's not like you're reading picture books, but I think even adults can read picture books and get something
Mhm,
out of them.
mhm.
But I, sorry if this is repetitive for people who were here before this started.
This was
But
off
I
the
always
air.
say,
Please do say that again. That's an important point we made prior to us going on the live stream. But now the big audience will hear it. Go right ahead. That was such a good point.
so I there are a lot of very literary writers who are very famous and respected, but there was one in
Jonathan
particular
Franzen.
that
Sorry, I have a
I
cough.
tried reading their novel, and I couldn't even get past the first chapter because they were just basically, I call it literary masturbation. They were masturbating with words, trying to show us how clever they were. And I'm like, after the first few paragraphs, I was like, I get it. You're clever. You can write witty sentences, but get to the story. So I call YA literature without the bullshit, because when you're writing for teenagers, they will sense bullshit. Like they have grade A bullshit detectors.
Mhm.
So you need to get to the story, and you can't bullshit them about emotions. You have to be emotionally honest, and and also, I think we all have that inner something inside us. I call it, I was joking before about how, I still feel sometimes like like I'm in middle school sitting at the losers table.
Yeah.
And I think we all carry those anxieties from when we were younger. We learn to deal with them. Our adult selves, our rational adult selves, are beyond them. But you can be thrown back into a place where your little lizard brain is saying, "Oh my God, I'm such a loser. No one's ever going to like me."
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Absolutely.
I
And
think why
also,
yeah.
you transferred a good YA novel transports you right back to that time, but it also, in the case of your writing, also shows really effectively the ecosystem that these teenagers operate in. And as a parent, it's sometimes the reality stares you straight in the eye when you have a good author like yourself this depict how parents deal with certain situations, how inept they are with dealing with certain situations. So when I read this stuff, I mean, I almost read your books like kind of like an instructional manual. Maybe they're not intended that way. Where I go like, oh my God, this father is a total a-hole. I don't want to be like that guy.
What not to wear? What
Yeah.
parenting hat not to wear?
Yeah. Oh, those jokes are actually cringeworthy. I'm doing the same. Oh my God. So yeah.
um, well, I think it's interesting because you mentioned that I sort of write about these tech-related subjects, and I think part of the reason why I'm so fascinated by the intersection of being a teenager and technology is that I grew up pretty much without technology. I took a computer programming class I think it was my sophomore or junior year of college, and it was the first year that my university had PCs. Um, the year before, like anyone who was a computer science major was carrying around, I don't know if anyone here is old enough to remember, but those punch cards. Um,
Wow.
yeah. So I never learned how to do. Oh, good. Someone else is old enough to remember them. Yay. um, but so I didn't have a cell phone. We had one landline that we all had to share, and it cost a lot of money. um, when you went to college, I went to college several states away from my parents, and I would talk to them maybe once a week, and we had to keep it really short. Calls were expensive. Um, so I would write letters
Hmm.
to my parents. So, now, and the other thing I think that's really important is that I don't know about you guys, but I was not a model teenager. I got good grades. That's the one thing I did do. But other than that, I was very not good, and got up to mischief. And yes, I'll be interested to know if there were
Please,
anyone who
people,
is a
speak up.
model teenager or former ones. I was definitely not that model teenager, and but the thing is, I was able to make those mistakes in relative privacy.
Yeah.
So, all my mistakes were, in they're hazy memories in the minds of my high school friends.
Yeah.
Um,
And they're not
and
online
yeah, and
forever.
and now I mean, quite often when I do school visits, I'll tell the kids, like, I feel sorry for you because you don't have that ability to make a mistake in private. Like, everything, you make one mistake and it can be all over the internet in no time. And the internet, as we know, is forever. So, and your employer is going to do a search on you when you look for a job. So something stupid you did when you were 13, they might find. Um, so
This is
I
so interesting because I was just thinking about this the other day. We talk here a lot about, and I want to talk with you about this too, about the how dangerous some of the sort of ideological pipelines are with very right leaning and extremist YouTube channels, for example, that can really kind of propagandize young folks that are searching for meaning and that kind of thing. And
which,
so,
funnily enough, is my next book.
see, we have this telepathic connection. But the weird thing is, like, some of these people are fairly young. I mean, they're in their 20s that spout this hateful stuff, and I sometimes, like, I mean, I don't. It's not that I feel super sorry for them or that they're on top of my empathy list. I mean, there's people who have, I mean, some of these YouTubers, they have millions of channels and they spout real hatred. But then sometimes I think, these guys are 25. I wonder when they grow up and they want to and they realize how hateful, like, in what kind of path they chose. They will not be able to reverse this at all, because they
Yeah.
will sit on a YouTube channel with hundreds of videos where they spout hatred against minorities and such. Yeah. But they're, like I said, I mean, they're making a lot of them make very, very big money, so they're not, they and when you're 30, I think, and you don't realize what you're doing, I don't know. It's probably too late. Um, Yeah, let's go to oh, by the way, we're speaking with, yeah, right, or if you're the president of the US and nobody likes you, but the to oh, by the way, we're speaking with, yeah, right, or if you're the president of the US and nobody likes you, but the empathy for that guy is definitely limited. We're speaking with Sarah Littman, and by the way, the I have a typo here. Sarah Littman is spelled with one N. It's not the German Mann. It's one N at the end. So we have a little typo here. It's completely my fault. I'm sorry, but it's spelled correctly everywhere else. Your your new novel Deepfake is coming out in October. Let's start there, and then we'll work our way backwards to the other book. Now, Deepfake, I had a limited concept of what deepfake means, and then I was googling around, and so folks can watch this in the back here. I found screenshots of Bill Hader, who is a comedian on Saturday Night Live and a bunch of movies, and there are two YouTube accounts, and they put him because he does impersonations, and he does a Schwarzenegger impersonation here on Conan O'Brien's show, and this guy on YouTube was morphing his face into Arnold's face, and it's unbelievable. Um, I'm changing it now here in the back. Somebody put Keanu Reeves into Forrest Gump, and it's yeah, you cannot tell that this is done in any type of post production scheme. Here in the back now, you can see Bill Hader as Al Pacino, as he's doing an Al Pacino impression. There is a video on YouTube where David Duchovny appears uh, in Man in Black, and these are only still photographs, so you don't really see how perfect the motion is, the motion capture. Now, Sarah, what is deepfake for the folks who don't know what that term means?
So deepfake is a
Oh, Nicolas Cage, you're mentioning. Wait a minute. Oh, I have Nicolas Cage. Elon Musk on Rogan show morphs into Nicolas Cage, and
Well,
here, boom.
when I first started researching this, it was like every other deepfake video and used Nicolas Cage, and I couldn't figure out why they're so obsessed with Nicolas Cage. But yeah. Oh, okay. AJ's, yeah. If your child tells you why, can you please let me know, because I still haven't quite got to the bottom of that part.
AJ says my child stuck Nicolas Cage's picture in my car. I still haven't figured out why.
um, yeah.
So this
So
seems like a harmless. I mean, this seems like, fun thing, and technology seems to be at a level where the software can detect what a face is, and you just map a different face on somebody and you play around with it. Is that
yeah.
what that is?
Well, so it's not like, just photoshopping. What's scary about it is that so it's a portmanteau of deep learning and fakes. So it was the term was actually created in Reddit, I believe. So basically, you are using artificial intelligence, deep learning, and you sort of the reason why they start with celebrities is because celebrities have huge amounts of material to feed into the. Oh gosh, sorry, my dog started barking. I hope that doesn't come through.
No problem. We're dog lovers.
Okay, good. So they start with celebrities because they have such a volume of video and photographs to feed into the neural network, and then um, so then it basically it sort of teaches itself how to make to transfer the face. So they need a lot of data in order to do it, which is why they start with celebrities. So one of the things I had to figure out in my novel was, how a teenager would have um, enough data to do this. But first of all, the technology is getting to the point where they don't need as much. There are some voice deepfake applications where I can't remember but it's like you only have to put in like a very small amount of your own voice, and
Mhm.
then it can fake it back at you, and it's really frightening,
But let's
particularly when
clarify
you start to.
before we go to the plot of your novel. So this is something that companies have an interest in their engines for whatever their business model is, whatever they use that for. So and people are having fun with these with the celebrities, and, and then what are some of these do you know what these companies are using this for? What is the application?
Well, like every new technology, it seems like the immediate application ends up, like the first application ends up being porn.
Mhm.
So deepfakes were used to put actresses' faces into porn movies without their consent. Um, so it's like another way of harassing women. Um, but it so but like, for example, all these companies, Google, there's one, I can't remember the name of the company, but there's this guy who basically scraped all data from like Facebook and photographs from all these different social media platforms, and has this huge database of images of millions and millions and millions of people. And
Mm.
I'm having like a senior moment to what his name is and the name of his company, but I know, Black Swan, that's exactly how I feel. Um, but like Google is doing the same thing, and Microsoft, like, I was just preparing slides in PowerPoint for one of my classes, and to do we have to make sure that if we put an image in, that we have that we describe it for in case someone's sight impaired. And when you do it in Office 365, it comes up with a description of the photograph. Now, it's really not that good. Like, so the AI generates what it thinks is the photograph is for, the description of the photograph. And it's really not that, I find it's really not that good. I end up typing in something more specific in case one of my students is sight impaired so they can actually understand what the photo is. But basically, Microsoft is then getting my labor to help it refine its AI's ability to perceive what a picture is, because I'm correcting their mistake, their AI's mistake. So then it's learning, oh wait, if I see this, then maybe it's not that, maybe it's this. So yeah, it's used in a lot of different ways, but they're, as soon as I heard about it, I started thinking about all the ways, we say technology isn't good or bad, it's a tool, but I think people are so excited about creating the technology, they don't always think it all through. And I think, part of it's because I started my career as a technology analyst on Wall Street, and then I also worked as a journalist. So I, my work as a tech analyst, I was, I sort of tend to look at technology with some, skepticism, or, I guess with an analytical mind rather than a fan person mind. But then as a journalist, I always want to think about what is the truth, and the combination of those parts of my brain. As soon as I heard about deepfakes, I was like, this is terrifying.
The thing, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more about how we generally deal with technology. We're like, oh, cool, let's do it because we can. But I'm, and the specifically with this, how it could be abused is you putting this right there on the table, and we'll get into what the story in your book is as well. But I'm still sort of interested in. I was looking this up, what the commercial applications are. I guess it's pretty self-explanatory for actors. You can make actors look younger. You can revive actors who passed away. So
like
from a
Carrie,
commercial, yeah,
in the Star Wars movie when they had Princess Leia
yeah,
after she died. But another application of deep learning, I don't know if any of you saw, there was this really excellent documentary called They Shall Not Grow Old.
Oh,
And it was using, it was actually done by the guy who did the Lord of the Rings films, who's
Peter Jackson. Yeah, here we
Peter
go.
Jackson. Thank you. So he got all this footage of, actual World War I footage from the military museum in London. And so the footage was in bad shape, first of all, and then also it was recorded at a different speed. So whenever you see really old movies, it seems like they're walking really fast, and then it was also recorded without sound. So what they did was they used deep learning to kind of because to sort of like help repair the film, and to sort of slow it down so it would actually look like footage that you would film today. And then they got lip readers to read what the people in the film were actually saying. It's if you get a chance to see it, it's wonderful. And then also there's a short documentary about what they actually did, and that's also worth watching.
It's fascinating. I'm putting up the image here in the back. So let's rehash here and summarize. I guess it's the same old story. Is the two big problems with this technology is that a lot of people are working for free for very, very big corporations, feeding an algorithm and feeding a machine that that the individuals who are doing this don't necessarily have any benefit from it. So that's a big issue. And the other issue is, of course, the abuse for something that may be used for some really cool stuff. Um, Scorsese is saying the AI pretty much predicts and creates images in between the frames in regards to this film here. As we were talking, I put up additional images here in the back where Keanu Reeves is copied into the Forrest Gump film, and so the if you want to outline how you put this into the deepfake novel, because now here's how it affects uh teenagers. I mean, I think people in the audience may pre- could predict what the issue is when you put this on the high school playing field, and you put this in the hand of high schoolers. Uh, can I take
So,
a wild guess? Bullying? Because, oh, I want to say this. Thank you for sending me the book, but you sent it to Palm Springs, California, to Tony Harper, who I'm working with on a documentary. Of course, I happen to be in lockdown, and
right.
Tony's housekeeper can't find the book, but it will turn up eventually. So this is, and I admit this freely, usually I prepare and I read and I reread every book when an author comes on. This is the first time I haven't read the book, and shame on me, Sarah. Shame on me.
Okay.
I'm deep faking it here.
Uh,
God.
so, um, when I sort of talked to my editor about the idea of doing this book, I sort of played around with different ideas of how this could affect a high school. How I could bring it down to the high school level, because really, like, I don't want to tell kids what to do in a book, but I really want to make them think, um, and hopefully start a conversation. So basically, I'll read you the flat copy. So there's these two students. Dara and Will have everything they ever wanted. They're the rulers of the Greenpoint High geekdom, overachieving in every way. And it's an intense competition to see who will be the valedictorian. It's one that the entire school is invested in. That is, until rumor has it, the anonymous gossip site posts a video of Dara accusing Will of paying someone to take the SAT for him. Now, I have to say that I wrote this before this whole thing about Donald Trump possibly paying someone to take his SATs or for him also came up. When the video goes viral, suddenly Will's being investigated, and everyone's wondering how he pulled off cheated on the SAT. But Dara swears she didn't say those things, which make it a little hard to believe since it's her in the video. So,
Mhm.
did Will cheat? Is Dara saying he did? Who's lying and who's telling the truth? The answer is more shocking than anyone realizes.
One question that came up to me, I'm sorry, I got to step in here because this is fascinating to me. And obviously don't give away too much here, but what's fascinating to me, and your books reflect this too, with an issue like this. Okay, so here is somebody seemingly saying my this guy cheated on his SATs. Now the administration has to investigate this. The parents are completely shocked. I have this discussion with friends and family all the time. I feel that boomers and Gen Xers have a much harder time in the media literacy field than younger folks have, and it's it sounds very intuitive to me too, because younger folks grow up with stuff and they know how easy it is to manipulate things, and older folks, when they grow up with three news channels, right, and a newscaster that is respectable and everybody trusts him, they assume what they see in media is vetted somehow. And so I have this discussion with my dad too, who has a hard time looking at things. I mean, he's not down the conspiracy rabbit hole, so people
Thank
don't
goodness.
freak out. He's doing good, but it's hard for him to understand how some stuff can look so good in terms of visual fidelity and presentation, as as a mainstream newscast or something like that. So is that something that you explore in this book as well, or is that a sense that you have? I mean, I'm grossly overgeneralizing, but I would say that media literacy is harder to come by with older folks. I think that's actually a bigger problem.
Yes, it is. I can tell you. Wait, so you're saying millennials are worse at it, or older
No, they're
folks are
they're
worse?
better. I think older
Yeah,
folks really they have a real hard time to come to grips with the fact that now everybody can put out stuff that looks like
yeah,
a legitimate news source,
yeah, because
basically.
they never had the training. So I can tell you something that happened just this week. My everyone. I don't. I'm sure everyone in this room has a relative. Who is that relative?
A
Who
QAnon relative
Well, yeah,
or
yeah, pretty
or
much, yeah.
adjacent.
They always have, we all have a relative who sends us the forward email.
Yeah, that is true.
So for me, that particular relative, usually I delete what they. Oh, someone says you've met my mother.
Right.
Yes. So so my relative, who will remain nameless, um, usually I just delete their stuff without reading it, but they sent me something like 2 days ago. And because I've been doing, so it was like forward, and it was something about some Amazon delivery guy being attacked in California somewhere. And,
By Antifa.
I can't remember like the whole gist of it, but it was basically like, oh, all these liberals are crazy kind of thing. Um, but because I've been doing all this research about white nationalists and white supremacy for my next book, I happened to recognize the address of the link he sent, and it was National Vanguard, which is a anti-Semitic, Holocaust denying, white supremacy group. And my uncle, like me, is Jewish,
Mhm.
and his um, his parents, my grandparents, my paternal grand my paternal great grandparents, so his grandparents, were actually killed by um, Nazis when they came into the Ukraine. So this time I had to write back to him, and
Mhm.
I took screenshots of the website and all the anti-Semitic things on it. And then, like, to join the National Vanguard, it says, about us, and it's like, anyone can join as long as they are of European descent, not Jewish. And I took a picture of that, and I sent it to him, and I said, what do you think your parents would think of you doing the work for the
Mhm.
people who killed grandpa's parents? And in a very horrible way, they like put them all in a salt mine and like blew up the entrance and flooded it. Like I remember my father crying when he told me about it. And here's my father's I was supposed to not tell you who it was, but anyway, sorry, I blew it.
We don't know.
um
I was just going to say the crimes of the Nazis in the Ukraine. There's a novel called The Kindly Ones, which if you can stomach that, read it. It's a fantastic account of it's historical fiction. It's brutal, but what
yeah.
happened in the Ukraine is unbelievable still to
Yeah,
this
I
day.
mean,
Yeah.
my great grandfather was a high school principal, an educated man, well respected, and and now his great grandson is sending around white supremacist propaganda because he's in that right wing news ecosystem rabbit hole.
Yeah.
um he hasn't responded, needless to say, but I felt like I had to stand up and say, try and make him aware of what he's doing.
It is extremely scary. I want to encourage folks also to check out Eli Valley, who is a Jewish cartoonist from New York City, who puts his finger on what you're describing here, Sarah. That people of Jewish descent sometimes they fall into, or they're being propagandized in a way that they fall in line with the people who want to destroy them, quite frankly, and a lot of other people too. And he himself is attacked by those right wing folks virulently as an anti-Semite, as a Jew. But
Oh yeah,
that's
no,
a whole.
if I've been called an anti-Semite
Yeah,
before, and I'm like, really?
yeah. it's that's what we'll do a show. I'm actually working with Eli Valley. He indicated that he might want to come on the show, so that would be amazing. He's one of the greatest living cartoonists. Check him out, folks. But we're speaking with Sarah Littman with one N, and so how about a little reading? Should we
Sure.
do a little reading of Deepfake? Again, it's about this couple of high schoolers, their boyfriend and girlfriend, and I understand that they're very high overachievers. So I don't know that lifestyle of
I
high
was going
school
to say it's
overachievers.
not at all autobiographical. Actually, it kind of, well, that part is, but
Again, for me, I mean, I read your books as an instructional manual. I mean, if I get reborn, I know what to do. Get the girls and do all that kind of stuff. So here we'll bring up the magic of Second Life. If you could stand up and walk to the edge of the stage without
okay.
falling off.
Let's see
This
if
is
I
the
fall.
highlight of the show. Let's play some bets if Sarah falls off the stage. And again, this book,
Oh wait. Oh, I fell off the stage.
you fell off
Oops.
the stage. No problem. Stand
Can I
there.
fly there?
No, wait. I'll bring it to you. Look how great this is. Just turn around with the arrow keys, and I'll bring the book stand right to you. You just have to turn around. Use your arrow keys to turn
Yeah, I'm
around.
trying. Oh wait, hold on. How about that one?
There you go. Yeah, that's sideways.
Oh shoot.
Not forward, just the sideways key. And turn to the audience, and I'll bring the book thing to you. Use the left
Yeah,
or
I'm
the right
using.
arrow.
I don't know if it's like my computer's super slow, but
Could be. You know what? Let's have you stand right like this, and I'll bring it right in front of you.
okay.
See, we spare no expense here at the Second Life Book Club. I'm my own prop master. I mean, it's not like your grandfather who apparently worked with Charlie Chaplin. Uh, Thank you for coming on this public access program here where we do everything ourselves, the sandwiches in the lobby. Now,
Okay.
yeah, so set up the story here. What are we going to hear?
Okay. So I'm going to read you just a short. I think short is sweet. So I'm going to read the first. I'm going to read a little bit from the point of view. So this book is told in several different points of view. So I'm going to read a post from the anonymous gossip site called Rumor Has It, and then a little bit in the point of view of Dara, who is one of the main characters. So this is early on in the book.
And again, the gossip site has published a video that alleges what do we see in this video?
Oh well, you'll hear that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Good morning, Greenpoint Panthers. It's Tuesday, December 20th, which means we only have 3 more days of school till winter break and freedom. Well, unless you're one of those people planning to develop a parentally approved and very convenient illness a day or two before break starts so you can get a jump on vacation travel. As they do every year, the administration has sent an email to parents threatening dire consequences for removing kids from school for vacation, but we all know it's going to happen anyway. You know who can't wait for winter break? Taylor Von C. He's been telling everyone who'll listen that he's going to Telluride. Taylor, we know your granddaddy has a big freaking house there. Dude, give it a rest, okay? I bet Ms. Johnson is counting down the days to break, too. She was spotted crying at her desk on Friday. Don't worry, Ms. J, it'll be better in the new year. I'll tell you 2 people who won't be having such a happy new year. That will be Dara S. and Will H. Today's Rumor Has It bombshell is going to cause some trouble in paradise for the formerly secret lovebirds. Watch and see for yourself. And then there's a link to the website. Here's a transcription just in case you're in class and can't watch right now because you do not want to be late to this party. Dara S. Oh, come on. Everyone knows Will paid someone to take the August SAT for him. I mean, his scores went up by how much? Like 200 points? Who does that, especially when they told you how they suck at standardized tests? From 1250 to 1460? Will's a smart guy, but that's just ridiculous. Maybe the pressure from his dad just got to be too much. Maybe Will didn't know about it and his dad arranged it, like in that celebrity college admissions scandal. Whatever. Either way, it's not right because he's taken the spot away from someone who really deserves it. Like I said, a bombshell. Duck and take cover, Panthers. Dara.
Wow.
Ada and I are both in AP Physics when she texts me, rumor has it, has just posted something new about Will and me. What now? I don't know why they're so obsessed with us. Hiding my phone under the desk, I check out rumor has it and see a video's been posted. I can't watch it in class, but then I realize there's a transcript, and it's me saying stuff in this video. As I read, the hairs on my arms start to tingle with the feeling I get when something is about to go very badly wrong. The same feeling I've been getting ever since that Sunday in 6th grade when Dad went to the supermarket to get Mom and me ice cream and never came home because some idiot drunk driver T-boned his car at an intersection 2 minutes from our house. That same sick to my stomach feeling I got when we started hearing sirens, and I knew somehow deep down that they were for Dad. I'm trying to read, but my phone is blowing up with text messages from Ada that I keep ignoring. When I finally understand what I'm supposedly saying in the video, I just stare at my phone. The words on the screen blur together as my mind spins in confusion. Because I never said those things. That's it. I like to keep it short and sweet.
It's wonderful, Sarah. Please take a seat. Sarah Darer Littman here at the Second Life Book Club, reading from Deepfake. And this is when the main protagonist just realizes that a video has been posted on. And it's funny. I guess a gossip site is also something that we didn't have. We had the school newspaper, and now we have a gossip site dedicated to, to our.
We had the school newspaper, and then we also had the back of the bathrooms doors.
That's
bathroom.
So the gossip side today is what used to be the back of the bathroom door in your day.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the things I thought about with so many other of these books that I've written that sort of explore this intersection is that when I was in high school, the worst thing that could happen, well, not the worst thing, but if a rumor spread about you, it was on the back of the bathroom door. And maybe, but it was contained to, it was contained to that, to a pretty small ecosystem. Whereas now it's, like I said, it's like, on the internet, and the internet is forever. So you can never really escape from those mistakes, or even things that you didn't do that people.
Things that you didn't do, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, mistakes or things that you didn't do. This is I mean, I'm really looking forward to reading this book, and we have 15 minutes left in the show, so I have to put pedal to the metal because I want you to read another an older book of yours that had a tremendous impact on me called Backlash. But first, with Deepfake, as with your other books, what I find very cool, and I don't know if everybody does that, but your publisher Scholastic, they release a study guide for teachers or guide for teachers together with this book, and I have recommended your books to teachers here in Germany. I hope they use it. How does the study guide, or how does the guide work? Because that's so awesome that it really facilitates for the teacher, makes it very easy to bring these topics into the classroom. As we agree, and we don't have to belabor the point, they need to be in the classroom, media literacy and all that kind of stuff.
I have to laugh that you say Scholastic did it, because actually I paid for the teaching guide for this.
No, I was just saying, like, they release it together. That was my understanding. Please enlighten me. How does that work?
Well, so they did do one for Backlash, but basically every single other of my books I've paid for a teaching guide, because I realize how important they are for teachers.
Yes.
And particularly now, teaching undergraduates myself, if anything that I can do to make a teacher's life easier in terms of helping these discussions, helping to facilitate these discussions, particularly with Deepfake, because media literacy is one of my passions. And, and I always thought part of the reason that I am so obsessed with it is because I lived abroad as a young person, and then again for 10 years as an adult. And so I've had this experience of looking at the United States from the outside in. And I think it gives me something that people who haven't had that experience don't have. So one of the things I do when I'm at a school visit is I tell kids, if you're just getting your news from one source, you're not getting the news. And if you're getting your news just from US sources, you're not getting the news. Because one of the things I found during the Bush administration was looking at how looking at the discrepancies between how things were reported in the US versus how they're reported outside the US. Not just during the Bush administration, same thing going on now. But like, for example, when we talk about torture, it's when other countries do it. But when we were actually torturing people, it was enhanced interrogation techniques. And there's another example that I've used when there was like a bomb, like there was a, what do they call it? Collateral damage, bombing of a hospital. And when I first started reading it in US sources, they were denying it. But because I follow sources overseas, and then, the US Defense Department actually had to admit that it was us doing it. So I find it really good to get news from a lot of different sources. I follow people I don't agree with, but just so that I'm constantly challenging my own thinking. And also because it's important to see what people, like, I subscribe to this email called The Writing, which it gives me the headlines of all these right-wing news sources every day. And sometimes, like, I wonder if I'm living in the same universe, because they'll describe something that I watched with my very own eyes in such a totally different and bizarre way, that I think it's really important to sort of understand how other people are seeing the world, even if you don't agree with them.
I completely agree, and I certainly don't want to interrupt you. And we can take this in the off game, but we just have about 10 minutes left in the main show, and then we can go into more detail about this. But I don't want to misreading from Backlash. What you're talking about, we'll talk about it in the post game.
Sure.
Is I couldn't agree more with the silos of parallel realities. As a matter of fact, Jeff Charlotte, who wrote the book called The Family, which was made into a Netflix documentary, was talking on a podcast I listened to this morning. He goes to Trump rallies, and he was pretty depressed about how it gets reinforced at a level that I think or that he says is not getting any better. And this is a legacy not only of Trump. It took some time building up to this point.
Yeah,
But one wonders how you
get
deal with this.
if you get Netflix, we just watched this. I think it's like 5-episode show called the Loudest Voice in the Room about Fox News and Roger Ailes. I really recommend it.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, and see, now I'm saying we have a few minutes left, and now I'm talking about the same topic, but we'll pick this up in the post game, because I do find it fascinating that we live in also a time of the golden age of journalism, and we have amazing journalists out there, and a lot of the Intercept or other sources that started online and have incredible hardworking young journalists out there, and even some sort of established news sources have have amazing reporters who are doing amazing work. and why are we still in a world where, and I think all your work touches on this. I think the underlying message here is that the technology is available to enlighten us, but we're for a multitude of reasons we're not taking this opportunity to have it enlighten us and make us kinder, make us better. I mean, I feel frustrated about that too, that virtual worlds have not gotten us closer together. It's siloing us off to a certain extent as well. Um, uh, Now where was I? What did I say? Oh yes, Backlash. Oh,
Yes.
Oh, just quickly about these study guides, because that's where we got stuck. The study guides, you actually have to bring in a person, you have to pay a person who reads the book and then puts a study guide together. Um, if you want that, and puts a study guide together, why can't you do that yourself?
A, because I don't have time, and B, because I get an actual trained high school or middle school teacher to do it, so they can hit on all the sort of standards that teachers need to show that they
Yeah.
are
And they know the
teaching.
curriculum of that of the age here too. I just brought it up here in the room. For example, there's a list of essential questions for student engagement in regards to your deepfake book. What's the difference between healthy competition and toxic rivalry? So these are also questions where the person who prepares this knows the age level really well and what they talk about in that grade in other subjects. I would assume,
Yeah.
and ties it in with that. You know. What's your book Backlash about? And let's do a quick reading here.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to rush you. We
No, no,
have
no,
a
that's fine.
the,
No,
the
but I
producer is
tend to
whipping me here in the back. She has a whip and she's cracking the whip on me.
I
Sarah.
tend to do short readings anyway. So the short version is that Backlash is about a cyberbullying incident that spins wildly out of control. And again, it's told from multiple points of view. And I think it was important to do it in multiple points of view, because I've actually had kids write to me when they're reading it saying, oh my God, I hate this character. I hate them so much. And I'll be like, okay, yeah, I totally get why you hate them. Just like write me back at the end. And one of the things that makes me happy is when they write me back at the end and they have a little bit more empathy for um the person that they hated.
Hmm.
And books are a great way of teaching empathy, because you, especially when I find writing in first person, that you're actually in that person's head and you understand why they're doing the things they're doing.
And the story in Backlash is based on a real case where, my understanding, the mother of a high schooler bullied another high schooler and she committed suicide.
Yes. Yes. um it was that case, and then some other, like, there were a lot of cyberbullying incidents that happened around that time. And so, spoiler alert, my character doesn't die, the one
Yeah.
who tries to kill herself. But because one thing, as someone who writes for teenagers, I feel like it doesn't have to have a happy ending, like, necessarily, but it has to have a hopeful ending. And so I, especially as someone who has gone through depression and suicide attempt myself, like, I feel very responsible um, to make sure that, even if the light in the light at the end of the tunnel is only a little pinprick,
Right.
it's got to be there.
I completely agree, and we could talk about the well, we'll have you back when we talk about 13 Reasons Why and how they made this into a Netflix show and how what terrible. I bring this up constantly
Oh
because
yeah, yeah.
I don't understand why they didn't see that coming. The visual form is not good for every topic. This is my short take on it.
Yes, I
And
agree
especially for
100%.
a series. I mean, it just glamorizes stuff. It's impossible to put that
Yeah,
into a context when you have a commercial bent in the visual realm. But now I'm digressing. Can I ask you to please stand up again and attempt to walk to the front of the
sure. Yes,
stage?
I will attempt. Attempt is the operative word here.
Sorry to cause so much anxiety, but those are the parameters of the book club where
I
we.
don't know why my like. Oh shoot! Wait. Okay.
I just do that
Now,
to have fun.
no, walk forwards. Okay.
Yes, yes. And here's the book.
Ah. Oh.
I'll bring it to you.
Okay.
I'll bring it to you. And so what will we hear from Backlash? And somebody in the chat said that's the book she read. Was it Nox Nova said that's one of the books that she read of yours? Yeah, Nox
Oh,
Nova.
great.
Yeah. Nox, get up, get also the Want to Go Private and all the other ones. Want to Go Private, Sarah is very mean to Second Lifers. No,
Uh,
no.
not
Everybody's
all. Not all second lifers. Hashtag.
Oh, there you go. That's a hashtag. Almost as good as Make My Boyfriend Read Again. I like that one. Not all Second Lifers.
Okay, so I'm just going to read a very short. It's the first chapter of Backlash,
Hmm.
and this is from the point of view of the character called Lara. The words on the screen don't make sense. They can't. He says you're an awful person. He says you're a terrible friend. He says, I know you've been checking out dresses for the homecoming dance. He says, what makes you think I'd ever ask you out? He says, I'd never be caught dead at the school dance with a loser like you. He doesn't say it in a private message. He posts it publicly on my Facebook wall where everyone can see. 25 people have already liked what he wrote, even people I thought were my friends. Why would anyone like something that mean? A few people have posted defending me, saying that I'm not a loser, that he's a jerk for posting that. But my eyes keep going back to Christian's words. I don't understand. I thought we were friends. I thought we were more than friends. Wasn't he flirting with me? Did I get that wrong too? My fingers tremble on the keyboard as I am him. What did I do wrong? I don't understand. I wait for him to answer, so numb with hurt and panic that I can't even cry. When the answer comes, I wish it hadn't. He says, you're a loser. The world would be a better place without you in it. Goodbye, loser. My lungs feel paralyzed. I can't breathe. Why is he saying this? What changed from yesterday to today? Tears roll down my cheeks as I type back, why? Why? But when I press return, it won't let me send it. He's blocked me. I hit the keyboard in frustration, shaking my head. No, no, no. I can't ask him why. I can't ask anyone why. The only person left to ask is me.
So that's Sarah Littman reading from Backlash, and this is the protagonist who's has a boyfriend online, and the boyfriend does a 180 and starts saying really terrible things about her.
What one of the things that's funny is, so this is a lesson I've learned, that I will never use the real name of a network, a social media platform,
Hmm.
in any of my novels again, because I get emails from kids who read the book now and they're like, oh my God, like, why did you put it on Facebook? Like, only old people are on Facebook.
I was gonna say,
Which is,
what's MySpace? What's that?
yeah. And so I had to write back and say, like, look, I totally get it, but when I wrote the book, which, it came out a while back, teenagers were still on Facebook, and they're like, oh.
Only my mom is on Facebook.
Yeah. So yeah. So I now make up like I did for the Second Life.
I was just looking. I forgot the name. What's the name of the Second Life world? Jiteen.
Shayteen.com,
Jiteen.com. Right. Yeah.
which I thankfully own the URL for, but yeah, but it was a little scary because if you Google Shayteen, it comes up with like a lot of you can imagine.
I can imagine. And I was just
Yeah.
gonna say, if you read your book, want to go private, and I was like, oh, cool, you own the URL, you can start your own world. May not be that great. The tagline could be "Je teen," where you can where you can pick up teenagers and sexually exploit them.
Yeah. One of the
Thankfully,
things I
yeah.
think I don't know how much time we have, but
No,
just
go ahead,
briefly,
go ahead.
doing the research for the book that is due on January 15th, one of the things I found is that a lot of the techniques that I learned, grooming techniques that I learned while researching Want to Go Private, they're very similar to how white supremacists are recruiting vulnerable teenagers
Yeah,
online.
yeah. And I actually heard a story also about. We will talk about this in the post game, the grooming or bringing people, trying to bring people into the white supremacist camp or the onboarding is now being done with the Save the Children hashtag. Interesting enough, but I want to ask you. We'll talk about this in the post game. Now we're over time, and my producers are cracking the whip. It's really terrible gig that I have. Such mean crew I have. I'm just joking. My crew is the best. Uh, Last question. What are you were hinting at this earlier. Your next book. What is that going to be about?
It is currently untitled and also currently fully written, but it's going to be also told from more than one point of view, but it's about a teenage boy who becomes radicalized to white supremacy through a gaming platform.
This and I don't know. Do people see Sarah in the couch, or is she has she been submerged to the couch, or do only I see that? If so, oh yeah, she's in the couch. You have to
Oh,
click the couch again, and then choose sit here, or unclick one of the green buttons on your left or right side. It's no big deal.
wait. Wait, I'm gonna stand up. Okay, and now I right click
Right click the
and
couch again. It should
sit
work.
here.
Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
there we go. That's
Oh,
better.
now it's bringing you back into the couch. Ah, why don't we just stand? Let's just stand. Deep on the couch, says Arieto. This is the deep couch. The deep fake and the deep couch. So as we're winding down and wrapping up the show, your next book is about the thing that I am totally afraid of, because these pipelines are so effective through whatever it is, gaming platforms or YouTube for that matter, with young people who are very often without guidance, who are seeking guidance in a world that is very, doesn't really offer them anything meaningful. Um, is this book going to have a happy ending or a silver lining?
Um, I don't know yet. No, it will have there will be hope, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be an easy ride. And I
This
can
is,
tell you that the research has taken me to some very, very dark places that are very depressing to me
I
and
can
kind of
imagine.
scary.
I can imagine. I mean, even just the YouTube channels, which are not really deep in games, it's so frustrating to me that YouTube is not doing more against some of those channels. I don't even have to name names, but they are, they have millions of subscribers, and they're misogynist, they're racist, xenophobic. It's just unbelievable, and I don't see why some people would disagree. Actually, this is my last question. Deplatforming, if you identify these people, do you think that deplatforming works? Because some of my friends say it doesn't work, and I kind of disagree with them. I think it's one tool in the toolbox the deplatforming of Alex Jones. I'm not naive. I don't think that it's going to make him go away, or his supporters will not change their minds. But a lot less people can be radicalized because he's not on YouTube anymore.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it, but I do think, for example, misinformation, there's so much disinformation and misinformation, and I do think that the platforms have to do a better job with that. Um, yeah, I have mixed feelings about deplatforming. I'm from the United States. We're supposed to have free speech, but one of the things that I try and talk about it, and where I argue with the free speech purists is that, yes, the Constitution gives us free speech, but it doesn't give us protection from freedom from consequences.
Hmm.
So if you yell fire in a crowded movie theater,
Hmm.
or incitement, that is not constitutionally protected. So is, spreading completely provably false information, how is that protected too? I don't, that I think they're going to have to be court cases.
The liability question to me, as this annoys my wife because she's an attorney, and I always say, these cases are so clear to me, why can't they be sued out of existence? Also, what we need to say, people who the Alex Joneses of the world who scream government overreach, I think they should have paid attention a little bit more in civics class, because they're on private platforms, and
Exactly.
free speech is not guaranteed on private platforms. So that's all
Exactly. Yeah,
BS
that's
anyway.
my husband says that all the time. He's like,
Yeah,
they're a private company.
yeah. That's the
Yeah.
easiest thing, but they always still do it, and it's such a. I mean, this is actually another thing that's depressing to me, which again shows we should focus more on civics education in school. But now my producer tells me I have to wrap it up. Sarah Littman, it was awesome to have you. Sarah's latest book is Deepfake. It's coming out in October, so you have plenty of time to read all the other ones and pre-order this one. And Sarah, it's been awesome. I interviewed Sarah before. I'm going to link this on our channel where we were in this other world, whatever that was called. I don't remember. Next week, we have a guest by the name of Larry Niven. Larry Niven is, of course, the author of Ringworld, among many, many, many other books. And I just successfully onboarded him. So I'm super excited. Let me bring up the image here. His avatar is made by Silas Merlin. It's still in progress. The avatar will be revealed in a few days. So that's next week. And we will get a full house. As I understand it, the entire Linden Lab staff, they're all super big Larry Niven fans. So if the region is full 5 hours before the actual show, it's not my fault. Um, Sarah, thank you so much again, and thank you
You're
for all
welcome.
your writing. Big thanks to my crew here: Strawberry, Brett, Patch, Kraylas, and Silas, and Marianne McCann. And yeah, the reading list, I almost forgot. The reading list is at bookshop.org/shop/Draxtor Reads, but you can just click on the books here on the table and it'll shoot you to the reading list. I'll put all Sarah's books up there. And thank you, wonderful audience. Thank you so much. Um, that's it. And I guess I'll see you guys all next Wednesday at 12 o'clock right here at the Second Life Book Club.